Here we're looking at a dissection of the brain. In this view, we're seeing a mid-sagittal, or at least as close as possible to a mid-sagittal cut. If we put it back together momentarily, you're going to be able to see the individual lobes. Up front here would be the frontal lobe. Here is going to be the parietal lobe. The back is the occipital lobe, and my thumb is partially covering the temporal lobe. Now, the other structure that is gone because we've already cut this open, so we put this back together, we're going to see the longitudinal fissure. This indent right here where I cut would be the longitudinal fissure. So now that we go back to this view, we're going to start at the bottom here. Move this up a little bit. This right here starts off at the spinal cord. As you go up, the very first kind of bump or protrusion here, this is going to be part of the brainstem. It's the medulla oblongata. From there, you go to the next protrusion right here. This is also brainstem, but this is the pons. From there you can go up. This is still brainstem, but this is now referred to as the midbrain. If we look just above, or just superior to the brainstem, we can see right up here there's this bump. If we move this a little bit like this, you'll be able to orientate that there are actually two bumps in here. We have one here and one there. Together, plus the other side, these are referred to as the Corpora Quadrigemina. But the top one here is the superior colliculi. So this one up top is superior colliculi. This one on the bottom is the inferior colliculi. If we go just under that, right here, this opening is the cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct. We can also see in the same region this little triangular space right here. This is the fourth ventricle. Fourth ventricle. The entire structure back here is known as the cerebellum. On the cerebellum, you can see this white matter, these kind of branches coming out. Those branches are known as the Arbor Vitae. They're going to be the white branches going out. If we put the cerebellum back together, this central section that cut open, that is known as the vermis. Now going into the central part of the brain. The central part we have right here, known as the Diencephalon, you're going to be able to see the thalamus. This circular structure right here is the thalamus. Going just down here, this is the hypothalamus. Coming below it, hypothalamus. Coming off of the hypothalamus, we're going to have this connection point here. This is part of the infundibulum. It's running down to the pituitary gland. If we come back up, we're going to see right here is the optic chiasma. This is where the two optic nerves are going to meet and cross over. If we shift up away past the thalamus, this part right here, get that away, this is the epithalamus. Now that is different than this part. This is the superior colliculi. This is the epithalamus. Now from the epithalamus, we can come up to this area right here. This white matter is known as the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. With right in between is going to be the lateral ventricle. It's a space that extends into the brain. So lateral ventricle. A couple other things to note. When you look at the brain, the indents here are generally known as a sulcus, while the upfolds are generally known as a gyrus. And there is one sulcus of note. We're going to have our central sulcus. So we're looking for the central sulcus. It's the one that goes all the way across, is the central sulcus. So the central sulcus is separating the frontal and parietal lobes.